Welcome to art class. Today we're going to do What's Your Word Part 2, meaning that if you have not yet completed Part 1, then you do need to go back and complete that first because we're continuing to work on something that we had already started. All right, let me go ahead and share my screen and we shall get started. Okay, so last time in art class, we introduced this project, What's Your Word? And we looked at the art of Roy Lichtenstein, who was a pop artist or someone who used popular subjects for their art. And he did paintings using mostly primary colors and like a comic book style. He was inspired by comic books and advertising. So here are some examples of his work where you can see those primary colors of red, yellow, and blue. And his style was initially considered disruptive because it was so different from what other artists were painting at the time. Uh, Comic books and comic book art were not really considered fine art at the time, and so he kind of changed that. So we're going to continue working on our pop art poster inspired by Roy Lichtenstein comic book style. Here's an example of a finished product in which we have our word, and it is presented in this kind of comic book style. And here are some more examples here. Alrighty, so it is time for us. This is where we stopped. We had our background and our rays, and now it's time to add in some of these explosion shapes. So your shape tool is the circle on top of the square. Go to your shape tool. We're going to be using the call outs. We have explosion 1, explosion 2. I definitely recommend explosions in the back, even if you do end up using some talk bubbles. Start with some of these explosions in the back. And you're just going to click and drag that out to the size you want. And then of course you can always resize it by using these here, the little squares. Let you change the size as well. If you do the ones on the very top or the side, it changes it in one dimension. But if you do the corner, it changes both dimensions. There's one call out. I'll annotate here. And we want 2 to 3 of these. So we can go ahead and do our 2 to 3. I'm going to do another one. I'm going to rotate this one slightly just to make it a little bit different. And I want to make it a little bit smaller because I feel like I can't see the other one as well. Let's take a look at that. I want this one to be a little bit bigger, and I don't care if it goes off the page. You can get cropped like that. Okay, I like that better. If you just have one word, you can stop here, kind of like how I've done it here. It's just 2 explosions plus your word. If you are doing something with, say, 2 words, I do recommend, I mean, you could stop here, but just to show you some options here, you can also use some of these call outs as like you're actually adding like a speech bubble. So say I wanted to do yes, sleep, I could do some of those. And then that one's a little big. I'm going to make it smaller. And notice I haven't messed with color yet. I'm just playing with the shapes. I am not liking how the talk bubbles are both on the same side. So if you want to flip it, take this one here on the right, on the left, I mean. And if you click on that and drag it to the other side, it'll just make a copy of that. Want to see that again? So you can reverse. Sorry, I'm on annotate. Okay, so little bubbles on that side, or I could flip it, which I like that better anyway. Alrighty. Those are my shapes. So you don't have to make yours exactly like mine. You definitely have some options to play around with it here, but minimum of 2, probably no more than 4, else it's going to start looking way too crazy. So add your shapes. Go ahead and pause this video to go in and add your shapes. Alrighty, welcome back. You have your shapes in here. So now it is time to make these shapes match our color scheme. So I already did my color scheme over here as part of my pre-work from last week. So these are the colors that I'm going to be using. So I can just select a shape and These are the options we're going to be editing today. The first one is fill color. The second one is border color. And the last one is border weight. So the fill color is this blue color. It's the color that goes on the inside of the shape. The border color is the color that is outlining it. So I'll make it pink. It starts out at 1 pixel. So I recommend going to at least 8, but you can also play around with different sizes and it has different impacts. Actually, I'm kind of feeling 12 right now. So fill color, border color, and then the border weight. We're going to do that for all of our shapes. And I'm just using combinations of my colors. Oops, actually, I always do that. Fill color green, and then let's go with beautiful. Don't forget you can also use black and white as some of your colors. You automatically always get those as part of your color scheme. We're gonna let's start there. What about this lighter pink? You can use variations of your color. For example, my primary color is this pink. I'm just using a lighter version of it. That's still considered part of my color scheme. Let's see here, it's 12. All right, go ahead and pause this video so that you can go to your shapes and you can edit fill color, and border weight. Okay, welcome back. So after you initially add in your colors, I would definitely recommend just taking 30 seconds to look at your work and to evaluate it. So one thing that stands out to me is I'm not super happy with this light pink. I think I would rather use a brighter green to help grab people's attention, which means that maybe I will use the lighter pink somewhere else or not at all if I want to keep it super bright. I am much happier with this. I think I use the lighter pink as one of my border colors over here. But essentially the goal is just to play around your colors until you're happy with them. And then I also decided I wanted this back one just to be a little bit thicker to help it stand out. And I may end up also making these a little smaller because they just seem super big compared to everything else. I did 2 speech bubbles because I plan on doing 2 words. So pause again, review your work, and just kind of be like, is there any way I need to tweak these colors? Always good to refine your work. Welcome back. You have, at this point, you have created all of your shapes and you have edited their colors, your fill colors, border colors, and their border weights. Clear off my annotations. All right, I'm going to introduce you to a new tool. We're going to be on this toolbar here with the words, and we're looking for insert. And we are going to insert word art. When you click on word art, it's going to pop up a little box for you to type in. Whatever you type is how it's going to appear. So if you want it to be all capital letters, type it with all capital letters, like I did kapow with all capital letters. If you want exclamation points, include them. If I want to do my yes, sleep, and I want it all lowercase, it's okay. Go ahead and do it. Once you press enter, it won't let you go back and change the letters. So just make sure, double check that how it appears here is how you want it to be. And then because my words are not next to each other, I need to do it separately. Let me show you the difference. Here it is with this yes, which now I can move over here and I will edit this in a minute. So if I want sleep, I'm going to insert word art again. And this time I'm going to do sleep in all caps, just to make it change up. So notice how they're in different speech bubbles. So I inserted word art twice. If I do it all together like this, like I went yes, sleep, notice how it appears together and I can't separate them. So 2 words means inserting word art twice. Each word is its own thing. So because that's just a brand new step, let's watch that again. I went to insert word art. I typed my word exactly how I wanted it to appear, and then I clicked enter on my keyboard. I'm going to delete that one. If you make a mistake, you could just delete it and do it again. Pause your video, insert word art, and then come back when you're ready for the next step. Okay, so these letters are totally boring. Let's change them up. So notice there's nothing on my toolbar right here where I have nothing selected. When I select these words, notice how I have options. I have options for color, and then I also have options for like making it bold or italic. It's going to default to Arial. That's the font. Font is just the name. It's like the font is the name of the style of text. So you can change it up. Here's permanent marker, Comic Sans, Ultra. And then at the very bottom, you have even more options. This is completely up to you. I would just encourage, I like that one actually. I would encourage you to just try different ones out until you find what you like. Actually, sometimes you're just like, yes, that's it. Even if you find one you like, definitely try other ones. Like, let me try it with Ultra. Did it change? Comic Sans, is it changing? I feel like it's frozen. Let's try it again. Really? You gonna freeze up on me there? There it goes. See, I don't like sleeping lobster. Permanent marker, no thank you. And then what was the one it was started with an O. It was, I don't remember what it was. Oh, it was a Boli. That's where I got the O one. I really like that. So change your fonts by clicking here. It will say Arial initially, and then it will say the name of the font. And you can just click on this down arrow to be able to get to more fonts. And then, of course, you can bold it. That can give you some variety. Italicized. Those are options for you. All right, pause this video, change your font, and then come on back. Alrighty, our font is still looking a little boring because it's just the light blue that it always defaults to. So we are going to incorporate our color scheme. White and black are acceptable colors. Like it can start to look a little bit confusing when you have like too much color. So just play around. I mean, the great thing about being digital is that you can totally play around with these colors. You can also resize your text to fit it better. Remember, resize, we use the corner square to resize that. Although like clearly I don't care if it goes out of the lines. It's just about like what kind of impact do you want? Do you want it to be so big it's like literally exploding from the shapes, or do you want it to look like a legit talk bubble? In which case you might end up making this a little bit smaller. And then sleep. I don't know. I am gonna try it. I'm also. I don't like that. I got rid of the border color, but let me play around with this one. First off, I definitely need to make it smaller. See if we can get it to fit in there. I may end up making this smaller so it fits better, or I can make them both bigger. That's also an option. I'm like, now that I don't know, I feel like I don't like this anymore. And that's okay. Guess what? I can still change it. I can totally change it up and play around with it. And I'm almost wondering if this should come out. Like, I'm okay with this coming out. I'm not super okay with the pink color, but let's play around with some other things. Definitely not black. It's getting better. Like, I don't know if you can tell, but obviously I play around with this a lot. Okay, I'm just going to make some kind of decision here so I can move on with my life. Obviously, I want you to be tormented by all of these choices. I'm gonna be honest, I would probably play with this another 10 minutes, but like obviously you don't want to watch me playing around with it for 10 more minutes. So let's just like pause a moment and play around with this until you're 100% happy with it. But let's talk about what I need for your grade. So your grade today, I do want you to show me you understand how to use the shape tool by using 2 to 3 explosion shapes or the talk bubble shapes. I want you to create word art and have changed the font. And I want to see that you've used that color scheme consistently. Remember that artists plan out what colors they want to use. So when you're 100% done and you are satisfied with how it looks, then you can turn it in and I'll be ready to grade it. I'm very excited to see what words you chose and how you're representing the beginning of the school year. I'll stop sharing and say thank you for watching, and I can't wait to see your work. Bye, guys.